We now return to It's Supernatural.
Okay, Jonathan, there's really one specific biblical warning before judgment that usually occurs. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you see it in the Bible over and over again, and that is before judgment comes, there is an act of desecration, and that means taking the sacred and desecrating. The prophet Ezekiel's taken into the temple in a vision, and he sees all the idols and all the desecrations of God's house, and God says, now judgment comes. In Babylon, they are having a celebration in the palace of Babylon. The king says, bring in those vessels from the temple of Jerusalem, and we're going to party with them. So they take the sacred vessels of God, and they party to the gods and get drunk. That is an act of desecration when you take something that is consecrated to God and use it against God and against its purpose. Well, what happens? As they do that, the handwriting appears on the wall, said, there is now judgment coming. So here is the principle. Could there be an act, a special act of desecration that has happened? Well, the answer is yes. Just as holy as are the vessels of the temple is the vessel of marriage that God made. And so you cannot take that and if you use it against the purposes that it was made for or against God, it is an act of desecration. America struck down the definition of marriage, and they are taking, what that is doing, it's to take the cups of God and drink from that in Babylon. It is to desecrate the vessels of God. And so that's the first act of desecration. Secondly, that was heralded across the land with defiance and with a sign of the rainbow. The rainbow doesn't belong to any movement. The rainbow belongs to God. It is a sacred vessel that God made, that he gave. So to take that and use it to celebrate that, that's a double desecration. And then thirdly, you have the highest house of the land, just as you had the palace of Babylon. And that night, when that happened all across America, that night, the White House was lit up in the colors of the rainbow to celebrate the destruction of the biblical definition of marriage. That is a third act of desecration. The White House became a vessel of desecration. So you have three desecrations on one day, and America crossed that line. And remember, Sid, what the rainbow is. The rainbow is the sign of God, of his covenant. It is a sign of concerning judgment and mercy. To defy that is to defy this in the face of God. I mean, how much more can we do to provoke God than we did? So we've crossed a line. And this follows the pattern or the template of the harbinger. Because what happened to ancient Israel? The harbingers appeared, instead of getting better, they became more defiant of God. So here, this is like the same pattern, which is ominous concerning the approach of judgment.